Check it for me.
All right. Audio is working for me.
Good?
We're good. I think we're good. We're live.
Live. 148 subscribers. And growing. I don't see the video though. Oh, there we are.
I just checked audio. We're good on audio too.
Yep.
All right. So we're going to be talking about Roe versus Wade. Supreme Court ruling. How is this affecting America? All right.
Hello there.
Let me get started here. So obviously we want to talk about this. We want to try to keep this as non-biased as possible. So we're going to try to keep our opinions as much to ourselves as possible without trying to be leaning towards either pro-choice or pro-life, because obviously this could be a very sensitive topic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we just want to keep it Roe v. Wade. I mean, no
Yeah.
pro-life, pro-choice argument here. Just solely talking about Roe v. Wade.
Yep.
Or yeah,
Roe
basically
v.
the
Wade.
court ruling and the decisions that those implications make. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. The decision struck down many U.S. federal and state abortion laws. Roe fueled an ongoing abortion debate in the United States about whether or to what extent abortion should be legal, who should decide the legality of abortion, and what the role of moral and religious views in the political sphere should be. It also shaped debate concerning which methods the Supreme Court should be used constitutional adjudication. So that all been played out. That started in 1973, and we've been 50 years now. All of a sudden, something came out. It was on May 2nd of 2022. Politico obtained a leaked initial draft majority opinion penned by Justice Samuel Alito, indicating that the Supreme Court is prepared to overturn Roe and Casey in a pending final decision on Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, expected to be held by June 20 of 22. A press release from Chief Justice John Roberts the following day confirmed the authenticity of the leaked document, but states that the draft does not represent a decision by the court or the final position of any member on the issue in that case. Interesting. It also says court ruling in Roe was criticized by some legal community. The Supreme Court revisited and modified Roe's legal ruling in 1992 decision plan. But I wanted to see more about what this whole thing that came out on May 2nd. Because what's Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization? Does anybody know what that is? It says pending U.S. Supreme Court case about the constitutionality of the 2018 Mississippi state law that bans most abortion operations after the first 15 weeks of pregnancy. So it was a law that was already put in place in Mississippi. It says on May 2nd, 2020. So they are overturning this. Oh, okay. So it says on May 22nd, Politico published a leaked draft majority opinion by Justice Samuel Alito, it would overturn Roe versus Wade and Casey. So there's two cases here.
But this specific case would only decide Mississippi's abortion law, right? The Dobbs
I
versus
think
Jackson.
that's what it's saying here, yeah. Yeah, the injunctions are based on the ruling in Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which prevents states from banning abortions within the first 24 weeks. Oral arguments before the Supreme Court were held in December 2021. Through the statement made by the Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, the court confirmed the document's authenticity, but said that it does not represent a decision by the court or the final position of any member of the issues in the case. A final decision from the court is expected by late June or early July of 2022. So there we go. We got the decision is expected to be made this summer. And, you know, I think obviously this is going to have a drastic impact on our country in the United States, because obviously this is a very sensitive topic. A lot of people have a very, I would say like 90 to 99% of the population has a strong opinion
on both sides.
On either one way or the other, yeah. So with that being said, this decision can ultimately cause a lot of headache or division, headbutting stuff, and we could always go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen some viewpoints from Tim Pool on how it could cause a civil war, but I also think it could be good. I think that it opens up the United States to, I mean, have different viewpoints. If we just leave it to a national standpoint, it's either one way or the other. Giving the powers to the states, that you have more room for another state to feel a different way. So there are a lot of right states, but they're all, like you said, there's also a lot of left states. There's also a lot of people that think that abortion is okay. So like you have a split, and if you vote on a state level, then you have more of a say so, as opposed to, you know, it being on a national level, and whoever is president or whoever has control of the Senate would be in charge of that.
Well, then there's also you also got to think about what the decision implicates as far as decisions on just anything regarding rights. You know what I mean? Just in general, like gun rights, rights to property, rights to just anything. You have to think of what the implications, the decision that this makes on that. Because if we let one thing, it's you know, it's like the 2A guys say, if you let one thing slide, how far are you willing to go, kind of thing.
Yes. How many other Supreme Court rulings can get overturned because
how many other things can people be regulated by the government, or you know, how many choices that should whatever you go and say.
I know.
But this is giving less power to the national government and more power to city and state.
I actually agree with that. You know, if you look at the history on how governments handle abortion has been around for thousands of years, and their governments having an input on abortion has only been around for a few hundred years. Governments have actually been really tried to stay away from governing abortions until recently in history. And I find that interesting because maybe governments should not be involved, or at least maybe the national government level. And you said maybe we should leave it to the state level or local level. I think I could agree with that. And it's kind of seemed like where governments have been doing this for centuries. If that's kind of how their stance was, they didn't want to control, at least in most countries. I wouldn't say that was for all countries, but
The other thing about that though is, with the way things are, local and state governments are excuse me, you got to think of all the other things that they have to do, and now you're putting something else on their shoulders at the same time. I'm more saying, why even, like, why not give people all the options and let them make the decision and live with their decision based on all the facts and all the resources available to them?
Because it's the responsibility of the government to protect people's lives. I don't
Exactly.
think
If they're
that.
provided with all the information and they're gone through like counseling and everything before the decision is made. You know what I mean? Make sure, like, talk to somebody thoroughly before that's like, they have all the options have been explained to them. Da 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 da. They, because it takes two to make one,
I
right?
mean, I
Uh-huh.
think it's okay to have that mindset, but we should still leave it open to people that don't agree with that. I think if we're just going on a national level, it's only based on one party. If we can, if we turn it to a state level, that gives more opportunity for someone to vote. Vote. This whole notion that
Right, but
only
what I'm
men make laws is
saying,
not. Just vote. And
I
if you live in a
understand what you're
state,
saying.
if you live in a state where people agree with you, then you shouldn't have a problem.
I understand what you're saying. I'm saying, why do we need a law to dictate what people do? Why not give people all the options and all the resources, and make sure we talk them through and make sure that they understand that all the options there and what they're doing and the decision that they are making with said items, and what their decision is going to what's going to happen, basically, and that they understand what they're doing before it's done, and that's it. Like, there's no law saying you can and can't do this, you can't do that. Why do we have to do that? You know what I mean? Why can we not just give people all the
Because
options and all the resources, whether you agree upon it or not? It's not. It's not your life. It's
I mean,
not your decision.
what
I could kind of agree with Cap here, and just in this the fact that abortions are in decline. Abortions have been in decline for several years now. So why do we need to create a law for something that's being fixed on its own anyways?
It's like the war on drugs.
but
Right.
I mean,
The
I,
more you
I
restrict things, the more people want to do it. Just give people all the options and let them do it safely, and make sure they understand what they're doing. They're less likely to do it.
I mean, I would like to see the statistics on where they're declining, but also, like, when
I
you
didn't
have
say that. I'm just
women, when you
talking about.
have women, when you have women praising it, and you have women saying they wish they had an abortion, that, I mean, you have to draw a line here. Like,
And
I
you
get
got
it. We have
kids
we have
celebrating
separate.
sex. I mean,
I get that. I
you
that's a
got all
whole nother.
kinds.
That's
There's
a whole
problems
nother.
all over the place.
Yeah, I get that. That's a whole nother topic. But I I respect different viewpoints, but I think with it being up to the state, I think that's the best thing for it. That gives room for either way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the state thing. The federal level, I think, definitely doesn't should definitely not get involved. If the state wants to, then leave it up to the state, and then if
Look,
somebody has an issue, they could get out of that state. You
well,
know.
that's what I'm saying. Uh,
Uh,
that's
but
what I was
here's
getting into.
stats here. So in 1973, abortion rates it was 16.3, and in the 70s it was as high as almost 30, and then it's been in decline ever since. And then it's 16.1 in 2012 to 13.5 in 2017. So yeah, statistically on all the graphs that I'm seeing, according to Google, is showing it being in decline.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is in a decline, not a drastic decline, but it's still. Yeah, oh, you're right.
So, um, let's see.
Well, that's what I was saying, agreeing with JPAD, because that's like a middle ground between the federal government, because things are slow and it takes long times to turn it over, and a lot of discussion, and a lot of like this and that, and it's not. It shouldn't be people that are arguing about this and that. It should be like, hey, this is a right that I have as a human being to make a decision on. If I understand the complications, like it's like going out and committing murder. If I understand what I'm going out to do, and go and do it, I know what the consequences are, and I'm going to live with those.
But there's not consequences.
There is. You can either be gunned down by the police, or you live life in jail, or executed, depending on what state.
Well,
you live in.
I said there's not, but there wouldn't be consequences to abortion. Like there is consequences to murder.
There
There's no
is.
there would be
In your head,
given.
you have to if you understand what you've done, like if you.
Well, there's a difference between having consequences in your head. Like there's no consequences in your head for murdering
That's
somebody.
what
There's
I'm
actual
betting under to you.
consequences.
It's your decision. It's like that. That's what I'm trying to say. It's you as a person. If you don't think that way, and that's how you're a human being, and that's what you feel, right? So you're allowed to have an opinion. Why can't you have a choice? Right? Is that not fair?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't agree. I don't want to get too deep into that part, but
No,
I think it's a good idea.
Saying. I'm just saying.
I think it's a good idea for the states to have a say so in it.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I mean, that part I do agree with. I mean, leave it up to the states then.
Well, I was just more or less getting into the fact, like, because some people say it's not a man's choice or a woman's choice, whatever, but it's like, it takes two people, right? So doesn't that say, like, both parties get to say a choice too? Like, as everybody.
Well,
so that's why it should be on the state level. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing:
so everybody can vote on it. That's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at.
If they do overturn it, and I think the reason why they're overturning it is because they're finding it not that it's unconstitutional, but there's not enough constitutional grounds to support it.
Right.
So they're going to have to leave it up to the states, and then the states are going to have to have a vote where everybody votes on it, whether it should, whatever.
But it's more based on like where you live and all that, right? Like.
So yeah, be state by state, so each state can do
that's
their
what I'm
vote.
saying. Yeah.
I think
it's not a constitutional thing. It's more of a rights thing.
And then abortion's illegal across all states. That's not what's going to happen either. It's just they're just trying to say that Roe versus Wade, there's not enough constitutional ground to support it. Because I guess the dudes back in the 1700s didn't think abortion laws was important back then, so they didn't write one. Yeah.
A lot of it's just based on the culture of the time too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it should be states, because states is more of a culture base, and it's like somebody said. It said some country. It's based on your country as well, not just states.
I mean, it's. I wouldn't say it's easy to move but you have the right to vote. You cast your vote. Of course, exactly. I could go a whole debate about voting. I think voting should be done on a open ledger where everybody can actually verify the votes. But we'll leave that another topic for another day.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because seriously, I mean, there's needs to be more transparency with voting. We have the technology to do that, especially with blockchain technology. We could have it to where everybody can verify the counts on the internet through the computers verifying it for us. So there's you don't have to rely on a person or a central authority or a third party to do it. You're relying on technology to do it all for you. But like I said, we'll save that for another day.
Right.
So yeah, I think we all can agree that if they do, if they lift the Roe versus Wade, then it's going to be left up to the states, and the states are going to have to decide, and they do that through voting. Um, how is this going to impact? Because I've been seeing articles about how this is going to impact, the economy. Do you guys think it'll how do you guys think it would impact the economy? Would it impact the economy at all?
Depends on how people react.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to see this as damaging effects, so that automatically puts this as in a biased point of view. But I wonder, I'm just kind of curious just to see what exactly how what's their argument.
Well, I guess it's like you said, if they don't like it, you can move. So if it goes to the states and the state has a certain view that you don't like, you can either vote when it comes up or move. And that affects the economy.
If they move.
Right. If they move, it affects the economy.
Or it could affect the economy in a good way if a state has it legal.
Right, they may get a boom or an influx of people.
Yeah, we also weigh on regulating. Okay.
I hate to compare it to this, but it would be like when weed first became legal and a lot of people were traveling to Colorado and California because those were the only two states really. I think you'll have a lot of people.
Do you think people are really be flocking to a state that?
Well, I don't think like that, but not to that number, but
just out of curiosity, what would be the incentive? Like, what would draw that other than just being? Let's say you're just pro-life, but is there any economic factor that would go into play? Because
your state is more likely to give you a choice on something. Like when it comes to voting on stuff, they're more likely to go for like your choice versus like them controlling.
well, I mean that would be all states though, right?
No, some states may be more overbearing than others. Like
yeah,
California.
I mean some might be more strict or less strict.
Like California's really strict on a lot of things. Emissions, plastics, guns.
Yeah.
But you give that up for the nice scenery.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's already states that are, I think, over regulated, like California, where it's just like
Illinois.
they just way overdo it.
Illinois is not too bad, but somewhat.
Yeah, Illinois is up there.
Yeah, if you read the comments, Felicia said it depends on the culture. I agree with that. It depends on the culture of the state.
Yeah. I also want to mention, said, you shouldn't be using Wikipedia as a resource, which I would agree. Wikipedia is just an index of the internet. So if you're using the internet for a resource, then
Sure.
Wikipedia is just a very convenient thing to use. But I do agree you shouldn't rely on just one source. So very good point there.
But we also read and we've also done our research on both of those Dobbs and Jackson's. We know that specific article is not false.
We're just using it as a point of reference.
It's an easy point of reference. So division, obviously, I feel like this is obviously going to cause some division. I mean, it's already has a little bit already, but now that it's going to be a hot topic, obviously, those who are hold strong opinions on this, they're not probably going to change those opinions. So it could cause, like you say, cause like a civil war. I think that's possible. Especially when
secession of states.
So my perspective, my point of view is I feel like there's a lot of outside influences from other parts of the world that would love to see the United States tear itself apart.
Agreed.
So they're going to try to. So I think this is like perfect timing. It's part of that whole agenda that I keep having this feeling of. It seems like it's a perfect storm of events that keep spiraling into this where things are gonna shit's gonna hit the fan, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is just throwing more fuel on the fire. Because the last thing we need right now is the United States become more divided than it already is. But Justin also makes a good point. Our country needs to, call the elephant out of the room. We need to be able to make choices. People have to have a right to, they have the freedom of speech. They have the right to voice their opinions. And if they have strong opinions on this, they should have the opportunity to vote. So
Exactly. Instead of taking it to social media and complaining on social media, vote.
Yeah, just go out and vote. Let the people decide. I totally agree. So there we go. Roe versus Wade. I think we can conclude that in the book.
Actually, I have one question.
Sure.
I had a question. Well, like I said, how in the beginning, this, if you give on this, and let's say that it's not overturned and it stays in the feds, what happens then? What are the things do you think?
They don't plan on overturning it, but so yeah, what is going that route? So I think it'll ultimately, either way, people are going to be upset. That's what I'm thinking.
No, that's what I understand that part. What I'm trying to say is if it stays fed, what else do you think they're going to try and go after? Like, what do you think they're going to go after next? Because I think everybody can agree that it should be pretty much at a state level so that we can all vote on it, because like state level is a nice medium between local and fed, because fed's just too much because it's fed, but local things just move too fast, and it's one of those things that shouldn't be swapped every couple 5 to 10 years. It needs a little bit of conversation. So I think.
Well, I mean, I think that type of law being made on a state level would not be something that's
made lightly,
switched out every 5 years.
That's what I'm saying. It's
I mean,
not
I
one
think
of those things that's made lightly. But
we see that some states lean more towards either the left or the right, and it's pretty consistent based on the state. So I don't think that it would be one of those laws that changed every couple of years.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's fed is too much, and it's not something that's should be under like the Constitution or anything. It's a right as a person, a human being. So a state is pretty much right there. Anything lower than that, it wouldn't be taken as seriously as it needed to be.
Right.
Conversation. So that's what I was getting at. But more about the question is if the feds decide to keep it under them and as a federal law, what else do you think they're going to go after next? Because we can all agree that it should be pretty much state. You know what I mean? Like gun laws or property, or what is it? What do you think? Crypto.
Well, I definitely think crypto is something they're going to tap into, but that's another discussion. But, yeah, I don't.
But I was saying, what's one other thing that's something that you think should be more like a right on a state level? It's kind of similar to this. Can you think of anything?
I mean, I think gun laws should be on a state level.
I mean, besides guns, that's pretty obvious. Like. Right up there.
I
was trying to say one other thing. You don't think?
Only reason I say that is because I guess it depends on the culture and of the state. I know that some places aren't as good with having the rights to guns, but guess that's a whole nother conversation.
Honestly,
That's a
I
good
I personally think that the Second Amendment is the reason why our country is so powerful,
Yeah.
and we shouldn't mess with that. I think
Yeah, you're right.
compromise. The reason why no country will invade us is because it would be the worst thing for them to try to do.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. But I mean, I can't really think of anything else that would be decided on the state level right now.
yeah.
Like any right that we have as a human that they would go after.
I would. Are you talking? You said human rights?
Like, yeah, because it's basically
I mean,
it's a right.
I think
all
the
this is a
mask
right.
mandate
We have
was
a right as a
definitely
human
an issue
choice.
for a long time.
Well, the vaccine mandate too.
Vaccine, yeah, that was all heavily debated for a long time, but that got shut down. I think. I mean, we went from uh, I'm gonna kill Nazi or I'll kill Nazi to show me your papers, like that. Like, and it's kind of funny. And actually, there's a video that Cap sent me. I want to show you this. It kind of shows the irony. Here it is.
We went from put that needle in everyone's arm to my body, my choice faster than you could say Biden's America. I'll see myself out. We went from
So hear what he said, right?
Yeah.
So I actually see this as an argument for both sides, and how it's actually kind of funny because you kind of see that both sides can be very what do you say?
In the wind.
That or
Hypocritical.
contradicting
There you go.
themselves.
Contradictory.
Yeah, it's contradictory because you have the right wings. They're anti-vaxxers, anti-mask. You don't tell me what to do.
Well, that's not true. They're not anti-vaxxers. They're not telling people to not get vaccinated. If you want to get vaccinated, then get vaccinated. Most right-wing people are not telling people to not get
The
vaccinated.
right to choose. You have the right to choose. But when it comes to abortion, you don't have the right to choose, and I see contradictions on both sides.
Well, I don't think it's a contradiction, because at what point is it no longer just that person's body? I don't think it's I don't want to get deep into that conversation, but I don't see it as a contradiction because of that.
At least you can agree that there is a cutoff.
What do you mean?
No, I don't want to get into it. No. Never mind.
All right, we won't go down
Don't do
that.
it. Don't do it. Don't answer the question.
I won't.
All right.
All right, here we'll just throw some comedy on.
Ask
here.
me about my winner!
Saturday morning where a bunch of anti-abortion protesters have signs and are trying to stop people from getting abortions. I'm going to go join them. No, the traffic, the people ruining the protest. No, you guys do whatever you want. Are you guys headed out? Yeah. It's unfortunate that this one sign can ruin a protest. Oh well, now it's just me. Hey,
Protest the protesters. Oh God, that is crazy. Well, divided America. Here it comes.
We're always gonna find something.
Yeah.
Actually saw an article about a pro-abortion clinic or something like that getting bombed. I'm trying to find it.
Recently?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Bombed. arson attack.
Yeah, it was a Molotov cocktail in Wisconsin.
It was in Wisconsin. Pro-choice
From the
group
Washington Times.
attack on Wisconsin anti-abortion office. If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either.
Yeah, it was set on fire early Sunday and vandalized.
Oh boy.
From a Molotov cocktail.
Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. Yep, I'm sure. there'll be-
Sharing my screen too, just so we have two references.
Okay. Did it show your screen too?
I
can only show one at a time. What I'm showing.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm showing JPat's screen. But you're showing
Washington
the same,
Times.
Same article,
Same.
pretty much.
Well, different sources.
Yeah, it's a different source, but pretty much the same article.
All right, let's
yeah.
talk about Johnny Depp, Amanda Heard. Tell me what you guys. I want you guys to guess what is in this bottle. Watch this.
Okay, guys, this is something that I missed. This is at the very end of day 13. Okay, she picks that silver bottle up. She just did under the table. Okay. How much? She goes to open it.
Oh, it's alcohol.
Oh, better put that away, you mouths. And there's a cop. She shoves it right in her jacket. Right quick. What you got in the bottle, Amber? What you got in the bottle? Okay,
What do you guys think's in the bottle?
Alcohol.
I have to say what JPat's.
That I missed.
Dude, she. There's gotta be a problem. I mean, there's a video.
Did you see the clip of her trying to pose for a picture?
No. What are you talking about? Amber Heard posing? Are you talking about when she was crying?
Yes.
Oops, in the
Yeah. Crying pose. I did see that.
Oh,
where
gotta bring
she
up the
sniffs-
video.
Where she sniffs the fucking the.
Yeah,
Kleenex.
sniffing the Coke. Amber Heard.
Now go to videos.
Wait, videos?
Yeah, video.
There we go. Posing while crying. Here we go.
Down one.
Hold on. Let me go to YouTube. There we go. There it is.
And after you both return to LA,
See?
Oh my
and after you both return
Oh my god.
That was
That's
so
terrible.
obvious. Oh my goodness. That is so obvious. I gotta watch that again. Hold on.
Look,
Get a
I
different, find a
never-
different video. See if there's a different angle or something.
I don't think there is. But wait, Dap, you haven't seen this?
return
This is
to
your first time?
I've seen the one of her snorting the coke, but I've never seen the one of her just posing and snapping pictures.
and after you both return to LA, did
That or she was snorting coke there too. Amber Heard snorting drugs in court.
What? Oh, I haven't seen this one.
You haven't seen
Talking
this
about
one?
Amber Heard was doing coke in court. Y'all let me know what you think. Make sure you like the video and subscribe.
Watch this. This is.
Oh
She
my.
had it on her thumb. You see that shit? She used the
Yes.
Kleenex and then she stuck her other finger.
Wait.
Oh my god.
Dude, she
Look,
is.
she's loading her. She's loading on her thumb.
Oh yeah, look at that. Hold on.
That's what she's doing. She's
Pressing on
got.
her thumb. Yeah, and then she's looking like she is. Yep.
Or one of her nails. She's loading on the end of her nail as a spoon.
Oh shit.
Oh my god. That's wild.
Yeah.
Anyone defending her, please watch these. Watch these 2 clips that we just played.
It sums it up. Sums it all up. I believe it. Johnny Depp was probably an alcoholic, especially being with her. I don't think he was the aggressor. That's just my opinion. But
Didn't she like put her hands on him?
Couldn't she wait until like she was sitting on
She
the other with
threw
her
a
back to
glass.
people?
she threw a glass bottle and it broke and it slid off the tip of Johnny Depp's finger, like completely off. He had to go to the hospital and get it sewn back on.
She also took a shit in his bed.
Yes. She also took a shit in his bed, yes. And blamed it on the dog. Which, we could look at that. Amber Heard's pile of shit.
Look at that again.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Everybody wants to see that.
That is so gross. Ugh.
We got better Bigfoot photos.
Huh?
I said we got better Bigfoot photos.
Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comment section if you want us to talk about Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster.
Next week, Def's gonna wear a tinfoil hat too.
Yeah, she was doing drugs.
If we get 500 likes, Dap will wear a tinfoil hat next week on this video.
Yeah. 500 likes?
Yeah.
That'd be insane.
I will make him a tinfoil hat to wear.
There's Bigfoot. You guys think Bigfoots exist?
I don't know. Seems like they don't, but I don't know. I haven't done really any research, so
No comment. Plead the fifth.
I mean, I think it's possible. It's possible, not likely.
that maybe, but
It would have to be.
it could
very,
also be someone. I mean, you know how easy it is, like, to dress up as a Bigfoot and just walk in the woods.
Yeah. That I agree. I believe there is a lot of fake Bigfoot sightings as well.
There
But
may
I
have been a really big ape that someone may have seen years ago, but
Yeah,
some of these pictures, like
folklore, there's always a little bit of truth behind like all folklore. Like at one point, at some point, there was one or one like it, and then somebody told a story about it, and then it became a thing, and then because it's like a meme. Once somebody creates a meme of something, then it goes viral, and then people just start talking about it, and then the meaning of the meme may change or whatever, or become exaggerated. So yeah, I think maybe at one point it was true, or it existed at one time, or it does exist, but there's still a lot of fake ones out there as well.
But I mean, if it were to exist at one time, how does it still exist? How is it still
As a story.
How is it reproducing? And I mean, yeah, as a story, but it may have existed at one time, but it no
People
longer
searching
exists.
for it.
Yeah, because of the folklore, because it became a trend, a meme at one point, at one time. Now there's
It came part of the culture.
Okay, but even if it existed at one point, it no longer exists. If people are making it up, it no longer exists. It existed at one point, but it doesn't exist anymore. Just like dinosaurs. Dinosaurs existed at one point, but they don't exist anymore.
Dragons.
Well, that's different.
It's different, but the same concept.
Yeah, that's
it was,
what
it was a story
there's
that was
8.
told.
I mean, you can't.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay.
But like
Like dragons didn't exist at all, but the
Yeah.
story was told forever. for
Exactly,
so
but
long,
if we were to
and
see
know
if we
about
were
it.
to see pictures of dragons right now, we wouldn't believe it.
It's fair, but I was trying to explain the whole how it was kept alive. That was your question.
Yeah.
yeah, a culture, just it became it's part of our mythology. There's a lot of myths that we all still hold on to. And I'm not even talking about religion. I'm talking about just myths in general, and superstitions and stuff like that we don't have any solid evidence or proof of, but somehow they still exist.
Yeah, but you don't see people dressing up as dragons and trying to say that it still exists. You still have people dressing
Not
up.
in this country, but maybe in China. They have a festival all the time.
I'm sure there's a group.
Well,
you go.
I mean,
Go.
that's different.
Look hard enough.
It's part of their culture.
Literally, probably think they are dragons.
Yeah, it's part of their culture.
Dragon
They believe
people.
that they're a dragon.
I mean, I get it if it's like a ritual or something that.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
I've seen.
I'm not saying I'm into it. I was just saying you better watch out. There's might be somebody and you're gonna piss them off.
Well, hey, if you're a dragon, if you claim to be a dragon, yeah, come to my house. I'd love to see it.
It's the same,
If you can find me.
dragon tattoos and shit. So, hell, we never know dragons ever existed, but why are people getting tattoos of it on their body?
Because dragons were is tied to a religion. I don't see Bigfoot tied to a religion or a culture.
Somewhere in the Appalachians. There's a town that's devoted to Bigfoot.
Yeah. What town is that?
One
don't
small
ask.
town.
No, one small town. I know what town you're talking about. I don't forget what it's called though. Here, the Legend of Bigfoot. This is on Washington Military website. This is Washington.gov. So North American settlers started reporting signs during the late 1800s into the 1900s, with occasional findings of footprints, sporadic encounters, and even a few grainy photos and videos adding to the mystery. Those who claim to have seen Bigfoot have described everything from a large upright ape into an actual hairy human, sometimes standing over 8 feet tall and described as powerful built. The debate and research continue. Entire organizations exist to study and document Bigfoot and prove its existence. And groups regularly search the Northwest woods looking for the ultimate proof.
But are they? So here's my question: are they trying to prove that there's one Bigfoot, or is that they're trying to prove that it's a species?
Both. I think
I
they're
was
just
gonna say, weren't they one and the same?
There's enough speculation, enough evidence, enough people trying to claim that there's something out there, so it's created this movement of actual organizations, like nonprofit organizations, to private or public companies or organizations getting funded through investors or whatever, who are actually investigating and trying to find Bigfoot. So with that being said, I mean, we're finding new species on the planet every single day. I mean, there's new species,
Right.
but it's mostly in the ocean. It's kind of rare to find new species on the land. I think
Right.
we discovered probably 99% of all species. This would be a rarity, which means if this species does exist, then they must be very, very rare. Like the population must be very, very small.
Right. But
Well-
I think using the term Bigfoot would refer to it being one species or one being of sort.
Yeah.
Right? You're referring to it as something that's
Right, but
There's only-
you have to do one to reach the other, so
Right,
you have to
but-
find Bigfoot to find out if there's a species.
But how long have they been trying to find Bigfoot?
You're asking questions that just
It says during the late 1800s to the 1900s is when when people in America were starting to see sightings. So settlers been in North America for hundreds of years prior to that. There's been no sightings, according to this. Like I said, this is only one website. It's a government website though, so I guess it could be somewhat reliable, maybe. So, but we also didn't really explore the whole United States until the 1800s. I mean, there was explorations, but not full explore of the whole country. Like, we didn't really start colonizing the whole country until the late 1800s. Am I right?
right. So I mean, there's a lot of possibilities of what it could be. Right? It could have been the natives trying to scare off the settlers wearing bear skins.
Yep, it could have.
It could have been a race of humanistic apes, but there's no evidence of it thus far, so what other possibilities you guys think it could have been?
I don't know, but I mean, they've been doing research for 200 plus years. So I mean, if you can't,
People,
You
some
haven't
people just
found-
need things to believe in, man. Why do you gotta crush their spirits?
Because they haven't found it yet.
Well, let them spend their time, their free time doing it.
But
man.
there was times where, they...
hey, I'm not stopping you. If you're
I have no interest. I'm just saying.
Well, it's like the giant squid, though.
That's real shit, though.
That is real, but for the longest time, that was a myth. We had no proof that giant squid existed for...
Yeah,
for
the ocean's a lot more
years.
expansive than the land.
But like I say, yeah, the ocean is... the ocean's a whole different ball game. I totally agree. But I mean... But if these apes are smart, they don't want attention from humans. They could, if they're smart enough, be intelligent enough to avoid humans. So there is that possibility too. Or they're extraterrestrials. All right, so we'll end it on that note.
sounds like a good note.
Yeah,
I think we did pretty good.
guys. Thank you guys all for tuning in.
Yeah, drop a comment. Let us know what y'all want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you for your patronage.
Hopefully Amber Heard could embarrass herself even more and make herself more guilty.
I don't think you can after what she's done.
Oh well, don't give people the opportunity to prove you wrong.
Right.
Oh, I'd love to.
All right, guys.
All right,
Have a good
guys.
night.
Have a good
Appreciate
night.
everybody being here.
Yep. Adios.
Take it easy.
Peace.